I know I haven't done a video in about a week, probably not since the tea video, but we've been struggling a bit with Trig and some of his stuff. He's not been sleeping and doctor's appointments, the whole 9 yards. It's been a busy week. So I'm gonna walk you through a few things we've got going on. It's the first time I've been outside this morning. We got a lot of rain over the last few days, and so I'm gonna look and see kind of what's coming up and kind of let you know just what we're doing right now. But it probably won't be a very long video. I really was not intending to do one. I just kind of felt like I needed to because I hadn't done one in a week or so. But here we go. So I am hardening off some of my tomatoes and some of the last of the cold stuff that didn't get hardened off and sent out. The real bright green one back there in the back, that's the one that's the volunteer one that I have absolutely no idea what in the world it is. I had Brussels sprouts planted in that cup. That tomato came up, took over the Brussels sprouts, and is growing, so I'm gonna leave it alone. We're gonna see what it does. But the rest of these are the varying varieties: the solar flare, the black, well, the surprise, I just about gave it away, the surprise one, and a couple of Daddy's tomatoes. And so I'm not hardening off all of my tomatoes at the same time because I have kids. I am forgetful. I will leave them out here and will kill them. But hardening off is something that you do need to do. You need to do it a little bit at a time, early in the morning, letting them get a little bit of sun. These have actually been outside on and off for the last week, so they're somewhere in the middle, and I may be able to put them in the ground if I keep up the schedule within the next week or so, mainly because I work and I can't do the long expanded times like throughout the day like you're supposed to without killing them, and so I don't want to kill them. So we'll walk over here. The tulips are kind of on their last leg, which is okay because I'm gonna put more dirt. I'm gonna cut them down and put more dirt in that, and I'm gonna put beans, like bush beans, in the barrels. But I have the dragon tongue beans in this. They've not come up yet. I just put 2 in there to early start them early. We have the potatoes coming up good and strong, but our bags, you see how they like to lean over? I actually got some wooden dowels. I have to cut them in half, and I'm gonna stick them in the sides to hold the bags open because we are getting quite a few potatoes going on in here. But I'm gonna have to mound these up. Obviously I'm gonna put more dirt in them, but they are leaning over because the sides keep falling over. But yeah, there's all kinds of them coming up, and so I'm gonna do that. And I wanted to show you this. This is one of the kids boxes that we're gonna let the kids pick what they want to put in here. But I had to put some of this basil in here because as I said in the seed starting video, I will never use those peat pots again. That was some of the basil that just overnight got so dry that they were just wilty and dying, and I had to pot them like right then, or risk losing them. And I didn't even know that one was going to survive because I just straight up put it out here. I did not harden it off. It's a seedling. I just stuck it out here. It's still alive, surprisingly. So we're going to wait it out. We don't have any more freezing temperatures past our frost date, so it should be fine. And the other ones, I potted them up in just like little solo cups and put them in my kitchen window. I mean, they're not even under the grow lights because I don't know whether they'll survive or not. They perked up. They seem to have survived, but Trig got a hold of one of them. So again, I don't know if it's going to survive because between my cats and my kids, I don't do the plants where they can get to them. They're usually in the basement. So, but here's everything else that's going on. The garlic and everything looks healthy. The onions have popped back up. They're like little bitty all in there. The kohlrabi that's right here has all perked back up. Now, one of the things that got me, I had to break it off, and I wish I'd kind of left it on to show you. This one, this tatsoi, was going to seed. I mean, literally, that little bitty tiny thing was bolting on me. So I tore the top off of it and hoped to slow it down and get it going, because these plants are supposed to be like decent sized plants, and it was bolting on me. And I'm pretty sure because it is a cold weather plant and we are already getting some 80-degree days, or almost 80 degrees, and I think that that's what's going on. They're just not liking the heat. And if this tells you anything, this spinach has been out here all winter. It was out. I planted it last September, and even it got sun scorched on one of the days last week because we just had one day that was super hot. But the red kale, oh my goodness, look how beautiful that is. I'm kind of shadowing it because it's early morning, but look how beautiful that is. It's so pretty. And of course Trig tore part of a leaf off of this one, so I actually tried some of it, and it tastes very similar to this. I feel like this is a little bit sweeter than that, but it had very much has a kale flavor. These are all our big ones are trying to bolt. I mean, you can see the seed pods down in there. I'm letting this one go to seed because I'm going to collect seeds from it, but I have been breaking off the seed pods from these in hopes that you see how it's growing more leaves down in there. I'm hoping to keep these going just a little bit longer. See how it's trying to do it like down in there. I'm trying to keep them alive a little bit longer just to give these others that are growing, like our new ones, give them a bit more time to get established so we can start harvesting off of them. Again, the gladiolas, look at these, like they're trying to bloom. They're putting their blooms up. So those will be bloomed and gone, and I'm going to succession sow the bush beans. So I've already got one barrel. I planted that last weekend, so it's a week old. That's why the seeds are not up yet. I'm going to put, when the tulips, sometime this week, next weekend, 2 weeks later, going to put some in that barrel. Then I'm going to give these, because these will be blooming another 2 weeks. I'm going to put two, more in this barrel. And so they're all going to be successioned, and they're not all going to be putting beans on at the same time. So that's kind of the plan. But the Brussels sprouts are doing okay. This is the elephant dill that I kind of put in the corners. Lettuces are doing good. I actually took a leaf off of one of these lettuces to try it because I only ever seem to be able to grow bitter lettuce, and it was not that bad. So I'm glad that these are actually getting big enough to take a leaf off of. The carrots are doing their thing, but they're being really slow, and I'm hoping the fact that this bed is more shaded than any of the other beds that it's going to do okay. And the cilantro is getting out of hand. I brought a basket because I'm gonna cut some cilantro and dehydrate it, and that way we've got it for later. But I am also gonna take some and put some in the fridge for soups and stuff, because I'm thinking of making like a vegetable soup. And it sounds weird, but cilantro on the top of soups, like in soups, not like cooked in it, but like just thrown on the top as a garnish, is really good. And so I do that sometimes with like creamy soups. But yeah, I brought that basket out. I'm gonna do that a little bit later, but let's walk out. We're gonna walk out to the regular garden. And yeah, I'm a hot mess this morning because I just don't care. I am out here. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna get it on there for the people that are interested, but I'm not here to impress anybody. So I'm just happy that Trig is content for the moment, and I don't hear yelling or screaming from my house. So all things are good right now. But yeah, look at this. Look at those strawberries. The rain yesterday has knocked a lot of the blooms off, but we have blooms all in this. Even the new ones back there are putting on blooms. And so we're gonna have strawberries, hopefully, all in this. I'm looking forward to that. Look at this oregano. This oregano has just spread. This is another thing that I'm gonna bring out and I'm gonna harvest, and I'm gonna dry some more, because this is the time of year you want to harvest this. It is fresh, new leaves, got really good flavor. This is what you want to do. See all the greenery back in there? That's the mint. The mint is coming back. I will probably make my first round of mint tea today, just because I'm going to cut the tops off, and I am going to try to back some of this up, because see how I told you in the last video, it will grow through its root systems. It has grown all the way over into here and all the way to there. Like, it is spreading like wildfire, like all in there. And originally, I mean, this is going to spread too, and I want it to fill in this blank, but all of these like just spread, and they're everywhere. But the sage is established. It's a taller plant, so the stuff is growing underneath it. Obviously it's healthy, it's growing. I need to like trim it back, but I don't want to cut the green parts off. But you can see how well it's growing in behind there. It's just a little straggly, and that's okay. And I also need to trim some of the chives, so I think that's what's going to be going on today. I'm going to be running a lot of the dehydrator. So nothing is in this bed yet. This is, like I think I said in a previous video, that I think we're going to do most of our corn on this side so it doesn't shade anything, and maybe a couple of our bush squash plants. Look at all those mushrooms on like in this area, and then probably beans or the melons to let them climb up and over. And then this bed, I'm debating on letting this actually bloom and getting the seeds off of it. This onion that's been left here, I'm half tempted to chop it off and dehydrate the onion pieces for soup, but that's you know, it hasn't been decided. But nothing is in this bed other than this onion, and we got rid of the ants back there, but we've got to dig that out because we did use poison on that, and we don't want like that seeping into the vegetables. So we're gonna dig that out, and we're gonna put new dirt back in. So that's gonna be cleaned up a bit more, but again, we're not putting anything in this. The tomatoes are probably gonna go here. We're gonna be doing probably 2 and 2 and 2. And then we'll end up having like cucumbers or beans and, you know, going up over these trellises, so they won't be taking up a whole lot of space. So here are the peas. The peas are just growing in nice, and I seriously think that this one, because it looks different than the other one, I think this is a self-seeded one from fall. I do, because I did not plant one this far over, and its leaves look just a little bit different. Those leaves have just a tad bit of red and purple on them because they are going to be purple potted peas, and this one does not. And so I seriously think that this is one that was self-seeded. Let's look down here and see if any of the beans have come up, because I did put beans in when I put those other dragon tongue beans in. These are just straight up like the 12-foot pole beans. These are the same beans that climbed this trellis this year, or last year, excuse me, and they were like up over the top, like way up here. Toby was having to pick a bunch of those up there because I could not reach them. But the peas are doing their thing. I'm still not seeing any blooms yet, but that's not unusual. I would rather them get a bit taller before they start blooming, just so they put on more. But I don't see any little sprouts of beans, but that's okay. Oh goodness, look at those mushrooms again. I mean, mushrooms are a sign of good soil, but I have mushrooms like all in my beds. But the turnips and everything, like they're really starting to come in, and you can really see like the lines of where they are now. I may need to go through and pinch a few of these off that are a little close, but I was going to eat the greens off of them. The radishes back in there, let me go back around there. They're getting really big. So there's a couple of those. I mean, I could pick a few of those small now, but I'm trying to let them get big. I mean, they're like this big around right now, and I'm trying to let them get a little bigger. But the sage, if you look at the sage, we're fixing to bring a lot of pollinators in here because the sage is fixing to start blooming. These blooms that come up, they're purple, they're pretty. Bees and butterflies and everything just absolutely love them. They smell amazing. And oh look, speaking of, the rosemary is ahead of the game. It's blooming purple. So people who, you know, think like the herbs and stuff, they aren't pretty, like they're just useful, like you don't want to put them out in a front flower bed. They bloom beautifully when they're actually blooming, and they are useful, you know, very, very beneficial to the pollinators and bringing those kinds of things into your garden. But yeah, like look, try not to get the pole. We've got one right there. It's a pretty good size. Oh my goodness, that one has grown overnight. I may need to pick this one because he's got a buddy right here that he's here. We're gonna go ahead and pick this one because this one's squishing out his friend beside him. But yeah, look at that perfect little radish. Look at that. And that's from the Hudson Valley Seed Company. And I mean, that one's gonna be tasty. I like radishes raw. They are really, really, really good roasted. I was actually having a conversation with my sister-in-law this weekend. She doesn't care for radishes, and a lot of people don't because of the horseradish. I can't ever say that right. The real like cold burn that they have. And here, I'm gonna lay this one here, and I'm gonna look at a few of these others. See, some of these are just, see how bright red that one is? I think that one's a French breakfast one because it is super red. But yeah, maybe it'll give this other one a little more room to grow now. And oh, see, I'm focusing on a bar instead of that. Sorry, really good at the camera today. But yeah, this one, God, that one's really bright red. And I was trying to look here. This, oh goodness, I may need to pull this one because this one's right under the rail. Let's get this one out because there's another one that's right there. We'll go ahead and get it out so it's on the way. But yeah, oh, look at that one. Oh, it's like a pink. See, like this is that rainbow mix, like it was just a mix of different types of radishes, and it's a little bit lighter than that. I mean, I would say those are probably close to the same variety, but yeah, just perfect little radishes. And see, now that one, which these were planted before we put these trellises in, and I did not know that they were going to be coming up like right under them. But yeah, there's another one that's right there that may need to be pulled up shortly. But yeah, they're all back up under the sage in there, and I will have to lift the sage and check on this because believe it or not, the shaded ones are doing better than the ones out here. I mean, and there's some of these. It's got some really big leaves. Let's look at them, because I don't know. Like big, that's one of the things about root vegetables. Like big leaves are not always an indicator of a large root system. The opposite can sometimes be the case. See, this one, you see how big the roots are? Or you see how big the leaves are? There's like no radish growing there yet. It's been focusing all its energy on these leaves and not growing a root system. And so we're gonna leave it alone. We're gonna hope that it decides to get with the program and actually grow a tasty vegetable. But yeah, I'm checking a few of these bigger ones because, and I'm talking like directly in the phone. See, that one don't have a root system. We're gonna leave them alone, let them do their thing, and well, and see, these are the watermelon radishes. You see how these have not really come up at all. What I say that. These look more like the beets, the golden beets. This may be the watermelon radishes. See, I don't label things, but I'm not sure. I'm thinking these are the radishes right here. But these take longer to come in than the beets and things. So those will come in eventually. But yeah, let's get our radishes and go back up here. Radishes. Take those pretty little things in the house and eat them with breakfast. But yeah, I'm gonna come harvest some mint and some sage. But yeah, you see all these little flower buds, they're coming up on the sage. It's gonna be bloomed out and gorgeous in no time. But the reason why I'm wanting to get, you know, these will be harvesting out, the turnips and things, they'll be shaded more, because I am gonna intersperse the okra plants in this, like on this side of the bed, and let them grow up, because okra will be something that grows real tall and these can grow underneath them. And then that way we're using the space, you know, very thoroughly, and making sure that we're getting the biggest bang for our buck for our spacing. So I'm hoping that those beans will start coming up soon, and then I will put a line of beans in here once I start pulling all these radishes up right here. That'll be probably a second succession sowed. I'll probably end up starting more of the beans on these, and then when those are getting established, I'll move over, and when these radishes are out of the way, I'll be putting them in here, because radishes grow really fast, and so we'll be eating on those fairly quickly. But yeah, that's kind of what's been going on for the most part. And I'm gonna take up here. The okra that I did in the seed starting thing, I have 2 or 3 that have sprouted. None of the cucumbers yet, but it's been about 10 days, so I'm not like in a super big hurry on those. And if all else fails, I mean, if they don't come up, then I can just direct sow them, because our forecast, I mean, we've got maybe a couple of nights in the 40s in the next 2 weeks, but the rest of the nights, I mean, it looks like spring is here, and it doesn't look like we're going to get another frost unless it's just a random one. But hey, baby, I've been being summoned, so I'm going to cut this off and post it and show these radishes to Trig. Hey, Trig, look at these radishes. You see them?
Yeah, they look like peanuts.
Do they look like peanuts? No. Are they good radishes? Okay, I'll get you a piece of kale. These boys love kale. Bye, guys.